big game atmosphere. Two of the best forwards, well, I said of all time, and I don't think I'm underestimating it at all, Barry Hall and Jonathan Brown at either end.
No, they certainly stand out, and whichever one of those manages to make a significant contribution tonight will probably help his side win the game. Given they are slippery conditions, it's not ideal for forwards. You'll see a lot of the ball skidding around and slipping through fingers. It is very wet on the ground, solid underfoot, but very greasy.
Yeah, it will be a bit slippery. See that matchup there, Craig Bolton and Jonathan Brown, always a fantastic matchup. Bolton's got the speed. I'd like to see Jonathan Brown taken to the goal square.
We are underway here at the Gabba. Charman in the ruck, tried to knock it clear, still diving in. In fact, locks it in for a little while. Get a secondary ball up in the middle. The umpires for tonight's game, Steve McBurney, Matt Stevick and Ray Chamberlain.
They've gone tall up forward, the Swans. Lewis Roberts-Thompson starting out of the goal square as an extra tall.
Has been deficiency of the Lions. Really have Patfull and Merritt as the tall defenders.
Well, Patfull's got the job on O'Loughlin. That'll be tough enough. And Joel McDonald giving away a bit of height on Lewis Roberts-Thompson.
But they're very comfortable with Joel McDonald to play those 3 or 4 inches taller.
Adcock with the clearance. Straight away to Notting. 70-metre long launch in the Bradshaw and Brown direction. Neither of them could mark it. Won't get a ball up. You saw the Brisbane Lions bench. Sherman, Brennan, Leuenberger and Hooper. And here's the Swans bench. Barlow, Bird, Grundy and Bevan. A few scrimmages early.
There's one positive out of this. Certainly the centre clearance went the Brisbane Lions way. They were smashed in the clearances last week, 25-45. Still managed to win the game against Collingwood, but I would suggest they couldn't get away with that sort of deficiency tonight.
Ablett's kick touched and rolls out of play. We'll get a ball in. And there he is, Jonathan Brown. A few players running around at the moment that bring crowds to the footy regardless of who you barrack for, and Jonathan Brown is one of them. One of the stars of the show last year on his first Coleman medal, and we'll get another ball in.
Luke Ablett looks like he's got the job of following Nigel Lappin wherever he goes.
Jolly. Little nudge on Charman. You heard the call. Jamie Charman, who does give away his fair share of free kicks. One of the worst defenders in the league, the stats tell us, but he gets one here. And there's that long launch. Jonathan Brown's down there. Bradshaw's down there. Richards was down there, knocked it to Black, but was caught. We'll get another ball up.
I think we'll see quite a few of those long kicks tonight. It's not the sort of conditions where you're going to overuse the football. Not too many short kicks, particularly if there's any sort of pressure on the teammate you're looking for. You've got to go long.
Jonathan Brown, the third palm. And Goods gets it from Ablett. Few years short to Barry Hall, and Brisbane will be happy if Barry gets all of his kicks here.
Absolutely. Defensive side of the wing. That is a long way from home. He's a good 3 kicks from goal.
He did a little bit of that last week, pushed right up the field, and you're right. He'd be very happy to see him take them all there. But
although
he's
good for his confidence
back
if he gets a few touches, Lynchy.
And as you know, as a forward, if you can get a few cheapies or have to push up the field, the confidence is picked up and puts pressure on the defender because the stats are starting to rack up to the forward.
Bolton, Richards and McVeigh combine to get it to O'Keefe. Travis Johnston steals it. Nice possession to Corrie.
Gee, Begley was good back then. He had to go forward to cut off Jolly, who'd pushed into space, but then made it back to spoil O'Keefe.
Slippery ball, full Jonathan Brown. As you mentioned, nice to get a touch early if it's a good one like Barry Hall did. Not nice to get a slippery one like that. O'Loughlin, Buchanan. Lewis Roberts-Thompson was caught with his back to the flight. Merritt rarely attempts marks in packs, and he takes one this time.
Good switch.
The outer side to Notting.
Adcock's worked hard into some space.
It's a short one, though. He might go longer to Black. Adcock's got it, though. You're right, Alistair. Black still half free at half forward. Little poke back to Notting. So the 1-2's worked. And he loads up, but it was touched. Jolly, little fumble. Bradshaw, the pressure. Nice tackle. No free. Ty Kennelly. Matner. Kirk. Buchanan. The midfield to Jack McVeigh. And now Richards. Nice movement. Lewis Roberts-Thompson is a 1-on-3 here. 3 Brisbane Lions players getting back. Travis Johnston gets back. And thought about going short to Charman. Wider to Patfull, who dives and marks.
Gee, it was a good kick, but also great ground made up by Joel Patfull.
To Lappin, the captain tonight. Both these teams with the co-captaincy system. McDonald. Jonathan Brown leads wide. 2 to beat. Jonathan Brown spoils it down. Played by Richards. Kirk. Matner. Ablett. Kirk. Barry Hall's free. With the hand. Thought about loading up from 50. Slides the handle to O'Keefe. Forced to try and give it back. Shrugs one tackle. Barry Hall gets another one high. Oh. Umpire said no. Waved it on. Matner. He gets one high. This time play on. O'Keefe goes all the way. First goal of the night.
That was a very good goal, but I know the Sydney Swans go on about this a little bit, but there's fair right. That was across the shoulder of Barry Hall. He doesn't get
by the chin.
He doesn't get too many free kicks. Good work. He's very confident pushing up the field. In the end, good conversion just outside the 50-metre mark. Good start for the Sydney Swans. Both ruckmen are playing behind the ball, and Daniel Merritt is allowing Barry Hall to push up the field. And we see in that shot there, Daniel Merritt is about 20 metres away. He's going to have to tighten up. Can't let Barry push up too long.
Give each other a run.
The first goal of the night for Ryan O'Keefe. Could well have played for the Brisbane Lions. His father played 3 games for Fitzroy. Ryan O'Keefe.
Does the father-son rule go that deep, does it?
Well, there was a time when the father-son rule was 1 game. They changed it to 50, and then they changed it to 100 as it is now. Corrie. You heard the call. Black had a couple to beat. Thump down towards Copeland, back into the team this week. And now Ty Kennelly to the open side, across goal. Jolly only got 1 Brownlow vote last year, Darren Jolly, and it was against the Brisbane Lions. Lark's playing against them. Nice bounce, good movement to Bird. And now Buchanan. Needs to finish, hit a target. He missed O'Loughlin, who gave the free away in frustration.
I think Joel McDonald made more of it than was actually there, but he did very well. I mean, there's nothing in that. He played that right up. He did very well, though, to cut off the lead. Terrific effort to help out his teammate in Joel Patfull.
Charman.
Needs to be a good kick.
Well, you're spot on, Jace. I don't think the Brisbane Lions really want Jamie Charman to run the ball out of defence. It causes too many turnovers.
Young player Lockie Henderson with a couple to beat more. And Matner, who gave him the don't argue to the head.
Yep.
And Lockie Henderson to take the free. Wearing Richard Hadley's old number 14.
Have a look at that early stat. 20 handballs received to Sydney, just 1 to the Brisbane Lions. There's a sign of who's running early.
Lockie Henderson, pick 8 in last year's draft, from Geelong College to Adcock and now to Bradshaw, who, like Barry Hall, has come a long way down just to get a feel of the ball.
That was paid against Mike O'Loughlin for jumping without any eyes for the ball.
McDonald. It's been a good contest, even though it's been a low-scoring one so far. Inside 50, a terrible kick.
Well, he was anticipating the lead from Brown, who looked like he was actually going to go there, but then doubled back. Unfortunately, the kick went there and Bolton kept going.
So Bolton to Bird, and Travis Johnston thumps it out of play.
And it is slippery on the surface at the moment. Just over the last 2 or 3 hours, a few showers around the Gabba. It dries up very quickly. So once that surface water goes off, which will be in about 10 or 15 minutes, it'll be a hard deck and some fast-flowing football again.
Mentioned Ablett on Lappin before. Also young Kieran Jack following Luke Power pretty closely.
It's been impressive, Jack, in the few games he's played. Carries the ball well. Good skills for someone who's played an enormous amount of rugby league in his junior years.
Luke Power on cue, gets a touch on Kieran Jack. Ball thumped out of play, will get a ball in. There is Luke Power, who in a couple of weeks here will play his 200th game for the Brisbane Lions. This game number 198 for Luke Power. The star he's been. Charman and Jolly. Boundary line looming. Hooper can't keep it alive. Ball in.
Kieran Jack. Don't hold. Just don't hold. Don't hold.
Umpire calling the shots. Charman tried to slip it back. Kirk. Danger zone here for the Swans. Hooper trying to create some havoc. So to Copeland. Stolen by Moore. Wobbly kick, and it's been marked well in front of Travis Johnston by Ablett. Again, they're hemmed in. Craig Bolton. Nowhere to go. Short. Moore under immense pressure. And he gets the free for too high.
Good effort. Sat under the ball. We saw Moore pre-game. Jace, solid man.
Very stocky. Strong build.
Short to Grundy.
Another
Been
one
on
of
the
the
list
youngsters.
been on the list a few years now, Jared Moore. He was emergency for the Sydney Swans in their premiership year in that grand final. Didn't get a game in their premiership 22, but wasn't far off. Adcock.
Got the match up on goods. That'll be a very interesting contest. Brisbane Lions a massive rap on Jed Adcock as a leader around the club, and certainly one of the premier midfielders as well.
Lappin to Johnston. Getting a reasonable amount of it early. Centering kick. Jonathan Brown. Good punch by Leo Barry. Grundy. Stolen by Black. Adcock. High kick. Goal square. Bradshaw. Got near it, couldn't mark it. Hooper trying to create something from the crumb. Shrugs the tackle, gets the kick away. Behind.
He's a very lively player, Ryan Hooper. And when he burst onto the scene last year, his crumbing ability in the forward half was electrifying. He just needs to find that zip and support the likes of Bradshaw and Brown and Charman when the ball hits the ground.
In just 8 games last year, Ryan Hooper, after having the summer off and not knowing whether he really wanted to play AFL footy or not.
Oh, good running by
Hand
Jack.
Back to Jack. Now he's got O'Loughlin. Oh, he ignored Michael O'Loughlin, went long and wide. Only behind.
Didn't like the ignoring either, Michael O'Loughlin. A bit of a look back and a couple of words.
Aaron Jack wearing Stephen Doyle's old number 15 this year. He was number 48 on debut last year, Kieran Jack. This is McDonald.
I dare say it'd be a different jumper too, won't it?
That's true.
Gone from 6'9" to about 5'9".
And speaking of jumpers, Albert Proud, only the second Brisbane Lion player ever to wear the number 2 in the number 2 this year. Chris Johnson wore that for a long, long time, of course. Kick towards half forward by Proud, missed Bradshaw. Nodding. Wrapped up by Matt Stevic. Will ball it up.
A lot of players around the ball, which is traditional for the Sydney Swans. Love the stoppages to push one-on-one contests. Make sure there's no loose men.
Leuenberger palm down to Black. Goods a tap out. Almost too high on Proud. Umpire didn't like it. Says keep going, boys. And now we'll have to sort it out with the ball up. And umpire Matt Stevic's been throwing it in the air. And quickly does it again. Leuenberger down to Goods. High kick, tough kick to mark. Patfull, a little push.
Just holding against the Brisbane Lions.
So Bevan to take the free.
You just have the arms around him. You can't do it. The umpires are hot on it.
Merritt with a job on Barry Hall.
Only players that were in the forward 50 for Sydney.
Ed Barlow. Craig Bolton lookalike. Hair a little longer though.
Just a little, just a spitters. Wonder what his nickname is. They used to call Craig Bolton the package up here at the Brisbane Lions because he's the ultimate football package. It changed to the parcel.
The parcel.
When he got down to Sydney because they realised he couldn't swim.
And there's the parcel inside 50. Barry Hall off hands. Tried to shrug a tackle short to Kirk. He's trying to claim the mark. Umpire said play on. Tried to get away with ignoring him. Ted Richards long. And offline by Michael O'Loughlin claims the mark.
And that was in, I think.
Plays on quickly and snaps a goal the Sydney Swans should never have got.
Well, you're right, Dwayne. They should never have got that goal because the players weren't listening to the umpire. He called play on a number of times and they just stood around standing the mark. Brett Kirk allowed him then. He had 3 Brisbane players surrounding him. None of them grabbed him.
I think it was good play
He
from
then
him.
got a hand pass out. Have a look, 3 of them stood there. He got the hand pass out, which allowed Richards to kick it forward. And this ball really should have been rushed through.
Isn't the under-10s they tell you to play the whistle? I think Lee Matthews might have a complaint there.
Kicked 5 goals, 2 this year now. Michael O'Loughlin, first goal of the night. Stole that one.
Young Matthew Leuenberger just needed to push back a little bit harder as the ruckman and be the 3rd man up over the top of the marking contest.
Leuenberger in the ruck now. Lions trying to get the takeaway, but probably won't. Jude Bolton is able to get a handball out. Not decisively. Kirk with the one-handed pickup. Dragged down by Proud. Ball up.
Lions are just struggling through the midfield to get any sort of space to set up some quality delivery to the forwards. Jonathan Brown's now 1 out in the forward 50.
Hooper. 3 Lions almost clashed heads. Almost 3 Stooges-esque. Lucky they got up with it, although they didn't get away with the ball. Goods does to Ablett. Little kick around the body, O'Keefe. Good thump away, though. Ball knocked down to McDonald to Barlow. Buchanan tossed away from it. Bevan, he tries to snap it high. It's close. Merritt thumps it through. Rowan Smith.
Yeah, Adam Good said Brisbane are double teaming him at the moment. Jet Adcock had him at the start, and now he's trying to run with Nigel Lappin. So he's just trying to break that tag.
Some good signs, though, from Goods. He's had the ball in his hand. He had a slow start last week, but some very good signs. Plays well against the Brisbane Lions traditionally.
Jared Brennan. Ford McVeigh. After taking a quality mark. Speaking of quality marks, Leo Barry came high, hurt his own teammate in Luke Ablett.
He's unwilling not just crawl from the ground for a few minutes.
Gee, Sydney, twice as many disposals as Brisbane in the first quarter. That is significant dominance.
Now the long bomb inside 50. Almost but not quite. Begley lays the tackle on O'Keefe. Black dives in. Umpire surely will sort this out with another ball up.
Lynchy, I like Colin Begley as a player. There doesn't look to be a lot of him, but he doesn't get too pushed around. He looks to have that wiry strength about him.
Yeah, good, strong competitor. Doesn't get beat. He's always in the contest.
Adcock decided not to take possession. Black left it behind and made him pay. Kirk keeps it alive towards Kennelly. Takes off. Slides it inside 50, hoping for either O'Loughlin or Hall. And he'll get O'Loughlin from a free.
Now, this is a lot of trouble now. Contested possessions 25 to 14 in favour of the Sydney Swans. They just look much more desperate through the midfield. The ability of the Brisbane Lions ball carriers to get the ball in their hand is certainly non-existent at the moment. Too much supply coming into the Swans forwards.
Joel Patfull very quick to look up at the screen, and that is a very soft free kick. You've got to be able to put some sort of pressure on. He wasn't pushed to ground. That is a charity free kick to Michael O'Loughlin.
But that's been part of the game over the last first few rounds of this season. You've got to be very careful. You wouldn't want to be a defender these days.
An extremely accurate kick of recent times.
Oh, well done, Dwayno.
He kicked at 74% last year, Michael O'Loughlin. He kicked 40 goals, 14. And for a man that had the yips 2 years ago, it's an amazingly accurate percentage, but
that was poetic justice, though, Dwayno.
This is where the Lions are struggling.
Well, the footy gods, if you're going to come and watch a game, the footy gods would surely be here tonight to watch Brown at one end and Hall at the other. Riscatelli from half-back. Low trajectory kick, and that's 50 surely.
Has to be. It is.
So Lockie Henderson might have a chance at goal here.
First goal in league football this would be. Geelong Falcons player last year. Didn't play a lot with injury, but was still rated high enough to go in the first round of the draft.
In a country town called Birregurra, just outside Geelong, and as I mentioned, from Geelong College, which hasn't been a big football school. It's been more a academic and rowing kind of school last couple of decades, but
gee, they need a settler.
Big chance here for his first ever, if he can swing it back.
It's home.
And there's his first.
Well, it's great for young Lockie Henderson to get his first goal in league football, and it couldn't have come at a better time because Sydney have been dominating the first quarter, but importantly from a Brisbane perspective, they haven't dominated on the scoreboard. They've only managed to kick the 2 goals. They've had a couple of opportunities that went to waste, and Michael O'Loughlin very guilty of a bad miss only a few moments ago. Lockie Henderson, the beneficiary of a 50-metre penalty against Leo Barry. A good kick, and they're right back in at Brisbane, and they really shouldn't be.
Just his second game of footy. Lockie Henderson debut last week against Collingwood. Rowan Smith.
You've seen Luke Ablett get crunched just there just before. He came to the bench, but now he's back on the ground, boys. He's fit.
Brennan.
He's playing Harlem Globetrotters, and they're hanging onto his jumper while he's doing it.
Well, he kind of had possession.
Yep.
Inside 50, hoping for Bradshaw. Ty Kennelly got back in the hole. Yeah, are you in possession when you're tapping it to yourself?
Well, when you've tapped it 4 times on the run, he had such a unique control over the footy. It has to be.
McVeigh, long. Barry Hall might be first back onto this. Boundary line too quick for Barry.
Looks to be moving well, though, doesn't he, Big Barry?
He's kicked 5 goals here 2 times in his career, Barry Hall, so does enjoy playing the Lions at the Gabba. Charman and Jolly. Charman rides the hip and shoulder from Buchanan. Travis Johnston content to be taken out. Corrie on the phone. Good to see Anthony Corrie back. Demoted to the rookie list last year, getting over that knee injury. Goods to O'Keefe. Now O'Loughlin, if he can pounce. 50 from goal. Bevan. All the way back to Barlow. O'Loughlin still in there. Barlow gets through a couple. Brilliant skills. Looks up. He's got Barry Hall. How's that for a finish?
That is amazing. And a clap of the hands from Barlow after that too. I hope he was applauding himself. That was brilliant.
He was.
That was magnificent, extricating himself from a very difficult situation. Players on both sides, he weaved through and they barely laid a finger on him. And then the bullet pass to the leading Barry Hall.
Swans general manager Andrew Ireland, who was here with the Brisbane Lions, of course, said at a Swans function last year that Ed Barlow could be the next Adam Goods to the assembled crowd.
It's a bit of baggage to carry.
He didn't know that it was going to be reported, of course, but gee, on that score, he looks sensational, and Barry Hall completes the deal.
Good thing there, Ed Barlow. I mean, it was just fantastic. He ran himself into trouble, didn't have a left foot, but he didn't turn the ball over. He backed himself to try to get through the traffic and then ended up just a beautiful pass. Lace out to Barry Hall, nice lead, and as you touched on, Jace, before, Barry Hall is moving, the best I've seen him for a couple of years, which is very encouraging for the Swans, very discouraging for his opponent, Daniel Merritt.
First goal for Barry Hall. Slippery ball not bothering him at the moment. 1-1 to 3-3. And the ball up, Simon Black, Ty Kennelly coming the other way, Jolly. Well played by Bird to Kennelly. And now Barlow again. Gets away from McDonald to Barry Hall again. Merritt.
Well done. Good confidence.
He used his chest to push Barry Hall under the ball. That was very clever. Didn't use the hands at all.
Nodding to Lappin. Henderson's calling for it, so too Jonathan Brown. It's too wide for both of them. Out of play.
Two big forwards from the Western District.
Look at Merritt. He's got the arms out and he's using the chest to hold he's strong enough to hold his position with his chest. That's great work. We talk about damning statistics. The handballs at the moment, 39 to Sydney, 7 to Brisbane. Now that's a sign of one team's running and creating overlap and one isn't.
Jarman slapped it down, but to O'Keefe. He might find the boundary, but not deliberately. He disguised it well enough.
And total
Ball
disposals, 88 to 43. The actual inside 50s are only 12 to 10, so it's just a slight discrepancy there. Sydney Swans haven't capitalised on the amount of possessions they've had.
Again, Charman and Jolly. Power, almost to his own advantage, but then out of play, Luke Power.
Just the one possession for him. Doing a very good job, Kieran Jack.
Luke Power, for what is a very high quality midfielder in the competition. He's only had 2 games over 20 possessions in the last 10, which is very unusual for him.
Adcock found Begley through traffic, getting a handball out. Justin Sherman
just held on a little long.
Corrie played onto advantage but missed the target. Adcock,
late call for advantage.
Basketball bounced it to himself. Jonathan Brown in a wrestle
against Jonathan Brown.
The umpire saw that wrestle, and Craig Bolton, the former Brisbane Lion, will take the free.
Saw Ted Richards come over the spoil as well. He's very quick to drop off his man, and on that occasion he created 3-on-2, or he looks to make a 2-on-1 whenever he can to give support to his defenders that are playing on Brown and Bradshaw.
Playing some good football now, Ted Richards. Was very good against Port Adelaide last week, and that support role there, I think he'll be very much appreciated from Leo, Barry and Craig Bolton.
Moore to Barlow to Grundy, 3 players who know each other extremely well. They've played a lot of reserves football together. And Grundy's kick out of play on the full. McDonald's free. It's not McDonald's free, it's Jamie Charman's free.
Isn't it nice when you get a kick that you didn't think was coming your way? That's where you don't mind running back to get the ball.
Darren Jolly won't be all that happy. So he's got Daniel Merritt if he wants to go backwards. He doesn't. Thumps it long. in hope that Jonathan Brown can get there. Craig Bolton was there with him. Jack. Little possession to McVeigh. Takes it out.
Difference at the moment, whenever the Swans win possession, they're on the move, they're running, there's numbers for support from behind. When Brisbane get the ball, it's very stagnant, not a lot of movement.
Back into play, it's a push.
Now, what way is that going to go?
Leuenberg, I think, got it. Well, he thinks he's got it.
He has.
And Jolly not happy again.
He's given away a couple.
So Matthew Leuenberger.
It's given a lot of time for Swans defenders to get back and help out.
Goods flies from 4 deep, thumps it down, but in the Bradshaw direction. Can he keep it alive? Just inside the boundary line. Kirk ensures that it's out. And with 2:29 on the clock to quarter time, get a ball in. Brisbane Lions have struggled with the Sydney Swans in recent years. From the ball in, Jolly down to Grundy, left to behind. Goods, Kirk, Kennelly can rush it behind if he wants to. Doesn't. He goes wider. Bouncing ball, Craig Bird, he can take it out. Does take it out cleverly.
We mentioned some of the matchups already, and they're all working well for Sydney. Jack on power, we said Ablett on Lappin, but also Brett Kirk on Simon Black. Kirk's had 9 possessions and kept Black to just 3.
Richards couldn't get it out. Hooper trying to shuffle it out. Lappin straight up in the air. Goods collides with Sherman. Well played, couldn't get away with it. Goods dives back in. McVeigh to Kennelly. Inside 2 minutes. Jude Bolton to Bevan. Fronts through, got the handball out. Couldn't find a teammate, Leuenberger, but Bird stole it back. Leuenberger back again. Lappin. It opens up now for the Lions. Open forward line. We know he loves a goal. Can Sherman kick it? He goes wide. Perfect pass. Jonathan Brown.
Now, they worked that well. That's one of the few times that Jonathan Brown's had space to work Craig Bolton one-on-one. He went back to the goal square once he saw the hand pass from Lappin come out because the kick wasn't forthcoming. And then he led again into the vision of Justin Sherman. He was rewarded with a good kick.
And that's what happens with turnovers through the midfield. Defence for the Sydney Swans was streaming out. Turnover caused, obviously, a lot of space in the forward 50. In the one-on-one contest, Jonathan Brown, you back him in most times.
Oh, fair Moz.
From here, toughish kick and...
No, backed him in for the one-on-one contest, not the shot on goal.
Got the 3 Brownlow votes when these two teams met here last year in round 20. That draw, thrilling draw in which Jonathan Brown kicked his 4th and final goal after the siren to tie those scores.
It's a shame from a Brisbane perspective he didn't kick that, because if Brisbane could have seen out the first quarter 3 goals to 2, that would have been a win for them given the amount of ball that the Swans have had.
Craig Bolton told to play on. Danger here, Notting and Lewis. Roberts Thompson, strong hands to Grundy. McVeigh, he couldn't snatch it. Copeland does. Power, maybe one last chance here for the Lions. Lappin left it behind, got it from Proud and now gets a free.
Good tackle. Once again, looked like the Lions had caused a turnover.
It's Ty Kennelly's ball for a throw.
A very good tackle on Nigel Lappin.
Possession number 9 for Kennelly as well. Had plenty of it.
McVeigh.
He was tagged on the half-back flank by Corns last week. Just really shut out of the game.
So they'll shut up shop here.
Didn't help Port, though.
No,
They got smashed.
well, Kennelly was quiet. That was a win.
The square, Nigel, the square.
13-point lead at quarter time for the Sydney Swans away from home. Extremely good record against the Brisbane Lions in recent years. Brisbane has not beaten Sydney since round 1, 2004. And the Sydney Swans, in slippery conditions, have opened extremely well. 3 goals, 3-21 to the Brisbane Lions. 1-2-8. Jonathan Brown on screen, who was a Paul Roos fan as a kid. Paul Roos, of course, the champion Fitzroy player, now coaching the Sydney Swans against the Brisbane Lions. But Jonathan Brown, his father, of course, played for Fitzroy, wore Paul Roos' number as a kid. From the ball up, start this second term, O'Keefe with the takeaway. Rolls it to half forward. Sherman overran it. Buchanan fell over. Jack collected it to Moore. McVeigh. Kirk. Maintaining possession. O'Keefe. Albert Proud saw it go between his legs. Adcock tried to thump it out. You can see how slippery it is. Well, played by Proud in the end. Toward half forward, Jonathan Brown gets there with the dive. Can't mark. Ablett Crumb. Caught by Lappin. Genuine, unbreakable tackle.
That's exactly what Paul Hudson was talking about. Brisbane Lions assistant coach. He said their missed tackles was a worrying number. That's the sort of tackle they want.
And good hands from Bradshaw. We saw how slippery it is. It was a great one-grab mark. Takes no time. Sends it long. Sends it strong. Touched on the line.
Lee Matthews would be very happy. That whole first 60 seconds of this quarter, there was a lot of chasing and tackling and intensity around the ball. Just put pressure on the Swans ball carrier. Didn't allow them out of their centre clearance, basically.
Ty Kennelly, 10 possessions in the opening term. With possession 11, finds Luke Ablett. To Goods. And Matthews stirred the pot with the call that he was a protected species during the week. We'll talk about that a little later. Well, Barry Hall's got it at the moment.
Looks a bit protected at the moment because he's just running around by himself, basically, racking up a lot of touches. That's 7 early in the second term.
Jude Bolton thought about giving it back. Kicks to the pocket. Grundy thumped it down. Kirk can't slip it out of the pack. Does now. Grundy. He also gets it out to Jolly.
Oh, interesting kick.
He tried to manufacture something, and for some reason it was paid 15 metres, and the mark's been paid to Charman. What did you make of Lee Matthews' comments during the week?
They surprised me, I think, but he did it in a clever fashion. There was such frivolity and joking the way that he said it. I think he got his point across, but didn't make it sound like he was winching Twaino. So maybe a mission accomplished for Lee.
Kirk to McVeigh. Pokes it inside 50, hoping for O'Loughlin, who dives and takes a magnificent mark.
Well, it was a little bit too easy for Sydney, the way they moved the ball forward there. Some of the Brisbane Lions players, it's okay to zone off, dependent upon the circumstances, but when your man's the only one in space that's likely to get it, and I'm not talking about Pat Fillon O'Loughlin, but the kick prior to that, you just can't allow the easy hit-up lead.
So Mr. 74% accuracy last year, the yips the year before. Seen a bit of both tonight. Michael O'Loughlin drives it straight over the goal umpire's hat. That was never in doubt.
Impressive start. The Sydney Swans about to bounce back. Jonathan Brown at the other end just struggling to get into the play, but Barry Hall and Michael O'Loughlin seem to have some very good delivery. As you touched on here, Dwayne, just not enough pressure on the man that was causing the forward 50 entry. Too much time and space to set up a quality lead, good mark, good conversion. Next 5 minutes is important for the Brisbane Lions. This could blow out very early.
Sydney Swans games record holder, second I should say on the all-time Sydney Swans goal kickers list. And the superstar Michael O'Loughlin has got 2 so far tonight. McVeigh with the clearance to half forward. Grundy, front spot, more drag down. Didn't have it.
And this it mightn't be 5 minutes, might be 2 minutes. Just the way the ball came out there. I mean, it was a free kick.
He was in between a rock and a hard place, as you could tell. He got caught with his opponent goal side, hitting it flat stick. He knew if he didn't tackle him, he was going to run onto the loose ball and have a shot for goal, so he took the gamble and just grabbed him a little early.
For the perfect start to this second term for the Swans, just drifted. The distance wasn't the worry. He is Cannonball is his nickname, I think. Is built exactly like one. Merritt from fullback. Jude Bolton. It's left it for O'Keefe. Grundy, Bolton, O'Keefe, Ted Richards. Danger here, Adam Goods. Through the tackle again to Ablett. Kick touched, play on. Jude Bolton squeezes it out to Grundy. Centering kick. McVeigh waited for the bounce. Read that beautifully. And the kick was just as good.
Jared McVeigh had 20 metres there. He into the space. If the pass was reasonable, it would have hit him lace out with an enormous amount of space. In the end, he had that much time.
But how good were the hands? I mean, it skidded and came quickly. Have a look how cleanly he takes the ball Bounced right in front of him.
But he just shouldn't have been there with that much space. The possessions in this quarter have been 5 to the Brisbane Lions, 30 to the Sydney Swans. And if they start capitalising these forward 50 entries, it will be nasty.
First goal of the night for Jared McVeigh. Appears as if he's been around forever, but turns 23 years of age on Monday. And the ball up. Ducked into it according to the umpire. Buchanan gets the clearance. Brisbane Lions on the ropes at the moment. Black dived in to Riscatelli. Adcock. And now drives it long. Hooper, Brown, they're all down there. Bradshaw.
Now, he was unlucky not to get a free kick, Jonathan Brown. He looks at the umpire. Craig Bolton just hipped him under the ball well before it got there.
Barry to Jolly. To Jude Bolton. Lead comes from Barry Hall. It's in his direction. Got a couple to beat. Body on the line there from Colm Begley.
You could just hear in the background the umpire having a chat with Jonathan Brown because he was questioning why he didn't get the free kick.
They've gone the big 3 forwards, Charman, Brown and Bradshaw.
Hooper dumped, got the kick away, and here's Charman, as you mentioned, resting up forward, maybe just beyond his range, and he knows it. Plays on quickly for a one-on-one goal square. Bradshaw's down there with Barry. Free kick. Bradshaw's got it. That's the evener upper for the last one, is it?
Well, Leo Barry will argue that he had hold of me first because he was in good position. He had front position. But then once he worked his way to where the ball was going to go, Bradshaw, Leo Barry had to grab him.
Well, umpires keep telling you if the jumper comes away from the back, they'll ping you every time.
Has got a 5-goal haul against the Sydney Swans here at this ground. Daniel Bradshaw. Gee, he made the goal umpire work. But it's there.
Well, fair to say they needed that. Leo Barry very disappointed as we look at the long shot come in. Now, Daniel Bradshaw is basically engaged.
He's got the arms around him there. He's holding him there.
But once the jumper comes away and you've got a handful of jumper, you're going to be in real strife. And that's why Daniel Bradshaw has been able to get the free kick there. He certainly had hold of Leo Barry, but
he did it the right way, didn't he? Yep.
And as a forward, you'd be very happy. As a defender, you'd be absolutely filthy with that one.
First goal of the night for Daniel Bradshaw. Umpire's telling the ruckman what to do. And Lewis Roberts-Thompson's in the ruck now for the Swans if he gets the clearance. To half forward Barlow. And sneak the handball away in time. Adcock at toe poke. Begley. McDonald peeling off for him. Wants to come to the open side. Not a lot to go to. Adcock back in the corridor.
And as the Swans do so well, they're pretty well matched up one-on-one right across the ground. No easy target for Adcock to hit.
Jonathan Brown on a long lead. Perfect pass. That was magnificent.
Good kick. Bradshaw one out if they can move the ball quickly.
He's on the move now. Brown sees him in his direction. Pokes it, and Bradshaw got there as well.
17 handball received, 2 in this second quarter again. They're just dominating the run.
And he kicks these.
Oh, can you put any bigger Mozzies on?
He kicks these. No, he kicks these.
He kicks these.
Yeah, he's got the fade left to right
Famous
shape.
last words.
Now you watch this just go straight through.
Oh, that's why we pay you the big money. That's why we pay Arthur Lynch the millions we pay him.
And played a lot of golf with him. His drive is very similar. He's got that shape, and players have their natural shape. Jonathan Brown worked well to get away from his opponent in Craig Bolton. But you just know with some players, he likes this pocket. That was a good lead. Good confidence booster, the free kick in the goal square. Probably it was there, but it was a cheapie. And this one's a quality goal from 50 metres out.
Thanks, Jonathan. Down, mate.
8 goals for the season now for Daniel Bradshaw, having missed the entire 2007 season with that knee injury.
It's amazing that the Swans have had nearly an extra 70 possessions, and yet Brisbane lead the inside 50s 18-16. Extraordinary.
Bolton, Ablett, Goods. Diving Grundy, couldn't collect it. Copeland. Boundary line almost a win there for Robert Copeland, although McDonald was hoping it would stay in. We'll get a ball in.
Get it in.
And Copeland played round 1 but not round 2. Back into the team.
Play off.
Leuenberger, nice fist. Not necessarily to his team's advantage. And he'll get another opportunity to palm it down.
The only midfielder for Brisbane that's really getting the ball is Jed Adcock. He's up at 9. Lappin's had 6, which is okay, but Travis Johnston 3, Simon Black just the 4, and Luke Power just the 2. Sydney doing a good job.
Leuenberger looks confident against Lewis Roberts-Thompson.
Roberts-Thompson just took Leuenberger under the ball there. The extra height just concerned him a little bit and got the free kick.
Travis Johnston. Bradshaw's on the move. So too Jonathan Brown. Tries to thread the eye of the needle, and he does it to Jonathan Brown. Superb pass, Travis Johnston, who has had his delivery questioned in the past.
Now, that was purely and simply a difference in size between Jonathan Brown and his opponent. Craig Bolton thought that he had worked enough on Jonathan Brown that the ball was going over top, but I reckon he's got an extra 6 inches to a foot of reach. Tall arm length over Craig Bolton, and it pulled in the mark.
For his first of the night, Brisbane Lions are back.
When we have a look at the replay, just have a look. Craig Bolton's right there, and he thinks he's worked him underneath. He can't believe he's reached up and still got it. That's a good stretch.
It's a great stretch. Brisbane Lions done extremely well to still be in this game. Little Amby's just 7 points behind. Possession's just well in favour of the Sydney Swans, but they're effective when they do go into the forward 50 in this second quarter.
Kieran, been good, mate. No hold. That's fine.
He's never kicked a big bag of goals against Sydney, Jonathan Brown. On the scoreboard finally tonight with his first. And the ball up.
Took his arm. Free kick, Brisbane.
He is very confident against Lewis Roberts-Thompson, Matthew Leuenberger.
Once again, the height.
Play on. He was with his man.
Dances around into Jonathan Brown. Copeland about to get caught. Squeeze the kick away in time to Corrie. Jonathan Brown backtracking now to get to half forward. Leuenberger over Lewis Roberts-Thompson again. Inside 50. Black's down there, couldn't mark it. Richards, calm to Matner. Buchanan. Ablett takes on Brennan. Magnificent tackle because it's turned it over. Copeland.
Brown by himself.
Brown will fly from 4 deep. Can't get there to spoil, but did some damage.
Kick just wasn't quite long enough to get to Brown. He had to try to crash the pack. Just the only concern with even with the Brisbane Lions getting a few goals in this quarter, still a bit one-dimensional. It's their key forwards that are taking the marks. No crumbing forwards looking like scoring at the moment.
Kennelly to Bevan, who took one sideways step and was called to play on to Barlow. Rowan Smith.
Dwayne, so effective that Brett Kirk has been tonight on Simon Black that Simon Black's moved himself into the Brisbane forward line just to try to break that tag.
Barlow, not 15 to Matner. 1-2. Lead to the pocket. Brennan couldn't get a palm on it. He did. Touched it to Grundy. Lachlan wants the boundary line. Hatfield taps it out of play. Ball in. It's a different Brisbane Lions outfit now. 34, plays 27. Jolly into the ruck again now for Sydney. Roberts-Thompson taken out of the ruck. Buchanan. Kirk. Richards. Notting couldn't trap him. Kennelly. Dances around Riscatelli. Finds McVeigh. Tight in the pocket. Kicks to the goal square. Merritt's down there. Edged out of it by Barry Hall, but Travis Johnston mops it up. Corrie on the outer side with Matner. Got a hand to it, but went to ground. Corrie kept his feet. McDonald can't get it away in time. Begley tied up by Grundy.
Good tackle.
Merritt got away from Barry Hall and thumps it out of play on the full.
Well, we're seeing very contrasting styles of football being played at the moment. Sydney trying to maintain possession, run, carry, plenty of handball. Brisbane just get it and kick it long inside the attacking 50. And half as many possessions, game evenly poised.
Well, a player that wasn't on the field yet took the free.
That's outstanding. You can get away with it.
So he is now on, Craig Bird.
Play on.
And he was on when he walked across the boundary line and kicked it. Inside full forward. Barry Hall flew. Out of play. 34 to 27.
Grab him! Darren!
Jolly ties up with Leuenberger and wins the palm down. Ablett. O'Keefe. Barlow. Been creative so far tonight to Ablett. Bounces it towards full forward, but it's out of play.
Been impressed with the handling of the players from both sides. We mentioned how greasy and damp the grass was at the beginning of the game, but it hasn't stopped some terrific handling of the football.
Leuenberger and Jolly again. Adcock collects, gets the kick away. Albert Proud and Ty Kennelly can't get there quickly enough. Get a ball in. Ty Kennelly had to put an end to rumours again during the week that he was off to Ireland at the end of this year. Still got next year of his contract to go, and then we'll weigh up his future. And the ball in. Tie up on Adcock, and we'll get another ball up.
Had an interesting conversation with Wayne Bennett, who coaches the Brisbane Broncos in the NRL, discussing the fact that they make decisions like players where they'll be playing next year and where he'll be coaching next year 12 months ahead of schedule. And it actually works in rugby league, but you just couldn't imagine it in AFL, could you?
It'd be the only competition in the world, I think, that I've heard coaches in round 2 are signing with another club, trying to develop lists for both clubs. It's amazing.
Who told you it actually works in rugby league? He did?
Well, no.
Well, he did.
I think where he made a valid point. I don't think it works for the players, but it works for the coaches. He said...
Does it?
Well, I'll tell you why in a moment.
Power. Tried to scoop it up. Black, tied up. Jude Bolton, toe poked away by Albert Proud, gets the free.
Well, the point that he made, because I was telling him it's hard to fathom how it does work, he said it's important for the players, if they're thinking about changing clubs, to know who's going to be coaching the club. And he said it's unfair if players are thinking about going to a club next year, whether it be Brisbane or not, and he's not going to be there.
Still not convinced, but Black slides it to Bradshaw. He's been convincing tonight, misses. Daniel Bradshaw.
Made for good conversation anyway,
I'm sure
right?
it did. In fact, he was coming off the plane after a loss.
Yes.
And the news cameras were trying to catch him, and he was in a deep conversation with you and nearly ran into one.
Brisbane Lions have certainly been able to pick up the pressure. The Sydney Swans, outside a couple of episodes going through the midfield early in this quarter, they've had a player very close each time they've taken possession, and there's been no clean delivery.
Matner to Leo Barron. And now McVeigh.
He's probably the only one who's been running around by himself from the start of this quarter, McVeigh.
Kirk. Adcock came hard. Kirk's hands were strong.
Possession number 13 for Brett Kirk. He joins Ty Kennelly and also Jared McVeigh as the big possession winners on the ground.
Barlow told not 15, back to Kirk. No one to go to. Wobbles it in the Barry Hall direction, and it comes off. Nearly 50.
Nearly, technically.
Yeah, technically it is.
Don't get any choice.
No, Barry Hall ran into him and was juggling it at the time. Barry Hall gets the call. Merritt corrals him, and little nudge as he kicks it. Chance for the Flyers to go up. Charman stayed down and got one for too high.
Well, the long bomb into the 50 there was because enormous amount of pressure and the one-on-one matchups are across the field that the Lions have been able to put into play.
Jed Adcock.
When you think about it, it's a pretty bad area to actually tackle a ruckman high, isn't it? I mean, you've missed the target by a long way if you're clipping Jamie Charman in the head.
Good hands from Notting. Albert Proud and Black go at it. Black said, I've got seniority. Simon Black. To the lead, and stolen by Hooper. He didn't know he'd been paid the mark. Hands off to Riscatelli. Thumps it high inside 50. Jonathan Brown with 4 to beat here. Almost beats them all. Tackled Craig Bolton. He beat them all. No, it's a trip. I thought he was going to get it for holding the ball.
Tackle just slipped down around the ankles. Craig Bolton probably should have taken this one. It was well protected by Jolly.
Gee, that's a lucky free kick too.
Just slipped down, just clipped the ankles. But they're struggling at the moment to get out of this defensive half. The Sydney Swans are usually so good at this through the likes of Leo Barry, Craig Bolton and Kennelly.
No more. Thanks, Ryan. Wait.
So Bevan, Buchanan, Craig Bolton and now Matner all get possessions, but it's still inside defensive 50s. Martin Matner takes on the wrong guy here, Hooper, who got him, but he got the kick away just in time, and Notting thumps it down.
Gee, Tim Notting was good there. He wasn't watching the ball, but he anticipated where it was going to go, and then when he jumped, he turned to face the ball. Did it beautifully.
been important for the Lions, more inside 50s than any other player last year. He was instrumental in Jonathan Brown winning the Coleman last year. Adcock. Dragged him down as he was picking it up. Craig Bird gets the free against Travis Johnston.
Move it on. Play on yours.
McVeigh.
Stay there. Thanks, Tim.
Tight, tough contest at the moment.
Thanks, mate. Move it on, Jared. Play on.
One-on-ones everywhere. No easy targets again.
And Notting doesn't come at McVeigh and
Should have.
didn't put any pressure on the kick, but the kick was terrible anyway. Charman.
Stay out at the back. Thank you. Stay out, Adam. Come out this way.
Brown wants it deep. He's got one-on-one with Bolton.
Ruckman should be banned from kicking short.
Turns it over to Batner.
There should be a competition-wide ban on Ruckman trying to go for short passes.
Just handballs.
Handball or kick
Round
it
the
long.
back.
Craig Bird.
Now this is where they might actually get some space. Some players have found some space through the midfield for the Swans. Have to carry the ball, get to Barry Hall.
Bevan's seen Hall leading, puts it in front of him. Merritt, one-on-one.
Great sport.
Perfect fist.
I'll make an exception to my Ruckman rule, unless you're Dean Cox.
Right.
Then you can do whatever you like.
Good contest from Daniel Merritt. Just came out. Barry Hall was holding him off with one arm. Still managed to get the spoil in.
McVeigh almost had it still. Keeps it in.
All right, look out.
Ablett, he keeps it in. Gets it to Kirk. He kicks it in.
Oh, boy. We'll have another look at that one.
He may have snuck across the boundary line, as you called it there, Jason. But McVeigh, once again, has got several metres.
Oh, boy.
Oh, well,
That's close.
The Lions faithful are absolutely filthy.
This
on
might
that
be a
one.
better angle.
Thanks, Barry.
Well, geez, that's a full agate over the line, you would have thought. So they've stolen one there, the Sydney Swans. They need it. The Brisbane Lions had certainly been able to get back in this game with some good pressure.
Excellent hold the man, Travis Johnson. Looking good, mate.
Brett Kirk, well, he introduced the Dalai Lama in his last appearance in Australia last year. And he had something on his side there, Brett Kirk, because that was out. And McVeigh was able to give it to Ablett and Kirk for the goal. Karma. 4-4 to 6-4. Ablett throws it out. Brennan stole it back. Copeland. And now Corrie's on the run with Travis Johnston. Kennelly and Bird pursue them. And the boundary line too quick again. To see Anthony Corrie back in the team, mentioned on the rookie list last year, coming back from that knee injury.
Play on.
No player went for the ball initially. Charman shoots it out. Simon Black. McDonald. The leads come.
A good run from Albert Proud.
And good pass as well. Proud needs to hit a target here. Puts it in the Bradshaw direction. Waits for the bounce. Craig Bolton. Matner. Bolton worked that perfectly. Straight down the corridor again. Moore. Sidesteps one, not the other. Gone! Dumped by Copeland. He made the most of the opportunity to put him into the turf.
Just tried to do a little bit too much. Knew what he wanted to do. Wanted to get the player free running through the centre circle, but just good tackle from Robbie Copeland to hold up and cause a turnover.
Jonathan Brown coming hard. Kirk in front of him.
Yeah, not happy with the kick. He wanted it further, higher, longer. He was in space, Brown, but the Copeland kick was too low.
He took it out on Brett Kirk. O'Loughlin left it behind.
Goal.
Sherman, he loves his goals. Centering kick to Bradshaw. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. He probably went for goal, Justin Sherman, but to the pass looked good. It was to Bradshaw's advantage.
He just cut that one a little bit, but the pressure was good to cause the spillage. Daniel Bradshaw,
He's a boom recruit, isn't he, after missing a year with a knee.
very handy.
He's kicked two. This for his third. The Brisbane Lions crowd gets something to cheer.
It was a big omission last year, Daniel Bradshaw, when he was out with that knee. Just Brisbane Lions coming through the midfield were too Jonathan Brown focused, and obviously all the opposition knew that. He's got a good player on him there in Craig Bolton, just able to hold him under the ball, use his body well, and take a solid mark. There's 2 goals from that spot in this quarter, 3 for the quarter.
Sort it out, boys. Thanks, Luke.
3 goals for the game, 3 goals for the quarter for Daniel Bradshaw. And they're a goal away, the Brisbane Lions. And the ball up. Umpire like the tap to Jack. Kirk, caught, dispossessed. Copeland ducked into it. Black tried to shoot it out. Well played by Leuenberger. Lappin, nodding through traffic. Corrie left it behind. Gathers his own crumb. Dragged down. Umpire said play on. Power. Jonathan Brown's on the move. Might get it regardless. Back of the pack, Kennelly. Leo Barry. Adam Goods. A reprieve. No one really to go to. Buchanan. Open forward line now waiting Buchanan.
Lions players dropping back out of the midfield to crowd up the forward half for the Sydney Swans.
Sends it wide. Grundy. How's that for hands?
Fantastic grab. Lockie Henderson, a big forward, has found himself full back for a few minutes.
Here's Grundy short. Eamon Buchanan. Another long kick and he's 60 from goal. And he took on Corrie and lost. Corrie tries to tunnel it out but went to Grundy. We'll get a ball up. It's an enjoyable contest at the moment. 40 plays 34. 1 minute and 20 to half time. Leuenberger in the ruck. Kirk. Boundary line looming.
I'm gonna have that.
Okay, umpire Ray Chamberlain. Just toss this in the air. Won't bounce it. Leuenberger searches for Adcock or the boundary line. Corrie. Ball in on the wing inside a minute to half time. Time enough for the Brisbane Lions to tie the score. Paul Roos coaching from the boundary line again tonight. Good lock-up tackle by Colin Begley. Oh. Well, maybe it wasn't. O'Keefe's free.
No benefit in arguing this time of the quarter. You don't want to give away a 50-metre penalty in a certain shot on goal.
O'Keefe told to get on with it. Power knocked it away from Ablett, but he held it long enough.
Now, there's a big crowd back in the 50. Now, what the Sydney Swans try to do here, they just try to chip it around and get it to someone who's standing about 40 metres out.
Ablett thumps it long. O'Loughlin's down there in the pocket.
It was a good set play, smart kick, and smart work from Barry Hall to hold his opponent out to not let him get to the free player in Moore.
So Jared Moore plays on. Spins it around. Not bad. More than not bad. That is spectacular.
Well, that is a kick that just hurts the Brisbane Lions with only 7 seconds left in the first half. A little bit of a worry that you can kick a long ball into the attacking 50 to a man all on his own like that. They obviously conceded the kick deep into the pocket. They weren't expecting young Moore to be able to finish like that. He just gave himself a little bit of room and looked very, very comfortable kicking it around the corner.
4th season on the list for Jared Moore. Just his 12th game. Won the Swans reserves best and fairest last year. Showed faith in him. Good clash in the middle, but that will do us to half-time. It's been a tough, hard, enjoyable contest to half-time. And really, we're still no closer to knowing the winner. The Brisbane Lions at home, always tough to beat, but the Sydney Swans have a very good record against the Lions wherever they've played them in the last few years. Last year, in round 20, here at the Gabba, it was a draw. Sydney at half-time, 7-4-46 by 2 goals to the Lions, 5-4-34.
No, been tough times. They have struggled against Sydney. Look, very interesting to see Paul Roos out on the ground. The coaches very rarely do that. That's great footage because they normally address the troops in the rooms and then head up to the box. But there was something else he wanted to come out and just hammer home to his players.
Yeah, he was heading to the box, thought of something, turned around and went back and told them. Ball up to start the 3rd term. O'Keefe. Looked out a handball. Tackle laid by Black, dispossessed. O'Keefe again an attempt at a possession. And Power to Black, Notting. Wide ball, hoping for Hooper. Knocks it to his own advantage. Kennelly. Both slide in. Corey makes it a 2-on-2. Tried to get a kick away, dropped it. Was neither holding the man nor holding the ball, according to the umpire.
Yeah, if he wanted to play it that way, he needed to handball the ball out in front of him, but he just dropped it. It's the old Kevin Bartlett, KB.
So is that holding the ball?
Possibly. Didn't dispose of it correctly, that's for sure.
Brennan. Charman. Good kick off the boot to full forward. Bradshaw was down there, couldn't get at it. And Ted Richards stumps it through for a behind.
Good to see Corey and Hooper, and also Notting with the centre clearance, just getting involved. Need their speed in this second half, the Brisbane Lions.
Martin Matner to Buchanan. McVeigh can run here.
That is way too easy, getting it out from goal and then switching it back into the middle.
Well, first 2 weeks, the Brisbane Lions have been the worst in the competition of conceding scoring shots from opposition kickouts. Just do it too easy.
The zone is not working. Whatever zone they're employing, it is not working.
Now, would you believe, if we've identified for the last 35 minutes that this man is by himself all the time, surely there's an opponent to him. I mean, they've got to be tighter. Jared McVeigh has started in his first 60 seconds by himself again.
Already kicked one tonight, Jared McVeigh.
Certainly one of the best men on the ground with 16 possessions.
And this for the perfect start to the third term for the away team, who seem to like it here at the Gabba. McVeigh has two.
Well, Lynchie, we just got a shot of a very irate Lee Matthews in the box, and I would suggest he's talking about just exactly who is responsible for Jared McVeigh.
Well, it could be that. It could be who is on Jared McVeigh, or it could be just the way the ball did come out of that defensive zone from the kick-out. It just came out far too easy. But I suppose if you've got one player running around by himself, and maybe that's the excuse if they're going to hang their hat on something with the defensive zone, there was no accountability on those players.
Lee Matthews, Craig Lambert, Justin Lepich, and Paul Hudson was behind them. The brains trust for the Brisbane Lions. Ball being tossed in the air now.
Runner out with Anthony Corey, who's standing with Jared McVeigh at the moment.
Power, tried to power through the pack. Matner does exactly that to Kirk. Play on advantage, Jolly. Just pops it in the Adam Goods direction. And getting back, good mark, Riscatelli.
What were you saying there before, Jace, about Ruckman kicking the ball short? Just needed to go long, just tried to finesse a pass in.
Notting to Power.
He can run.
Lead comes from Bradshaw. Just a little chip kick. Brennan made it look okay. Dances around, shows it to everybody bar us. And wasn't happy. Neither would Lee Matthews be.
Well, that's Jared Brennan. Lee Matthews knows that comes with the package. He's going to take a few around, take a few on. He's going to hold the ball in one hand, and your heart's going to be in your mouth, but he does some very special things as well. Buchanan
to Barry Hall, all the way up to half-back to get an early touch.
And when that happens, Daniel Merritt lets him go. He's sitting back at half-back, a kick ahead, and he allows the players further afield to account for Barry Hall when he pushes right up into defence.
It was a very similar start to the first quarter. Barry Hall pushed right up the ground. Merritt stayed back.
To Matner, Richards, and now Craig Bolton in the O'Loughlin direction. Hat full of fist on it. O'Loughlin collects, but no one to give to. Tried to slip it to Goods, bumped off it nicely by Lappin. Tries to shoot it up. Goods kept his feet. McVeigh. All thumped out of the pack. A little scrappy at the moment. Kirk. Begley slipped over. Got a push. Crowd wanted a free. O'Keefe in the meantime to Goods to Matner. He can set it up all the way back.
There's good pressure. In the end, the Swans had to bail out and go backwards to find any sort of space.
Kennelly passes in the O'Loughlin direction. Patfull's with him again. Half had him. O'Loughlin toe poked away from him. Dives in and keeps it alive. Hooper swooped. And now Bradshaw.
Nothing
after half back.
Got to be a little chip over.
Adcock can run. Jonathan Brown's calling for it long. Would take an 80-metre kick to get it to him, and he knows it. So he takes off. Plays to his own advantage and slung. Holding the man. Takes off around Jolly. Now Jonathan Brown's in the position. Gets there but only to spoil. Dumped it down. High kick. Goal square. Sherman getting back. Dropped the mark. Caught. Tried to get a kick away. Should have been a goal, wasn't? Kirk got it from Richards. Backtracks to the pocket. And again, the Sydney Swans get out of trouble.
He's a player that's battled to consolidate his spot, Justin Sherman. He shows a lot of talent at times, but you just can't afford elementary mistakes like that. He's dropped a regulation chest mark. Yes, it was a high ball, but there was no pressure, and it's cost Brisbane a goal.
Well, that's just where he's been at the last 12 months. He's been down on confidence his first year or two into the competition. He had the confidence to back his speed and take on the tackler, but certainly the confidence has been down for quite a while now.
Leo Barry told to play on, back to Craig Bolton. In fact, Justin Sherman said that his 2006 season where he represented Australia against Ireland took a bit too much out of him. It was too long a season, and last year was a horror year. Kennelly, short, Bevan. Takes the mark in the midfield. From the western suburbs of Sydney, where they're going to put a team in a couple of years' time, Paul Bevan. So they know about AFL there already, because he's the star from there so far. Barry Hall. Jolly didn't know where it was.
They shouldn't be able to slide for chest marks either.
Oh, you've slaughtered the ruckman.
Turnover, Kirk. Barry Hall tries to don't argue and dropped it. Gets the kick around the body. Begley. Goods off hands to make him pay to the pocket. McVeigh just needs to slide it towards goal. Grundy was down there, thumped into the post. McDonald keeps it alive. Not even willing to concede a behind. Riscatelli thumps it out of the area. Good contest to watch at the moment. Travis Johnston. Merritt. Handball not so good. Notting had to work for it, left it behind. Matner threads it through to O'Keefe. He sees a pass target, Buchanan. O'Loughlin's back. It's shorter. Grundy can't mark it. Brennan with the one hand. Somehow got the handball to McDonald, who somehow gets through traffic. Sherman to make amends. Almost against Bevan. Gets the kick away.
Well done.
It's a one-on-one. Bradshaw!
Leo Barry pleading with the umpire, saying he was held, but that was just strength from Daniel Bradshaw. He held front position. He kept pushing with the one arm. He kept pushing Barry off the ball. And that was great work from Sherman on that occasion to win a contested footy and get it forward.
Kicked 3 goals in the second term, Daniel Bradshaw.
I'm having a good look ahead of the ball, but if I'm watching the ball...
And he's just missed.
That's all you want as a forward. If you can have a one-on-one contest, and certainly Daniel Bradshaw is a big, strong forward.
They can't afford bad misses like that, though.
The one from Sherman should have been a mark. And the shot from Bradshaw. And it's 52-36.
At least on this occasion, they've been able to hold up the Sydney Swans, made it hard for them to find a target, so the zone was in place, no holes in it so far.
Leo Barry finds Craig Bird in that famous number 14, worn by Paul Kelly and Bobby Skilton. And now to Kieran Jack. Goods in the box seat here. One-on-one, couldn't go for the fly, punched it down to O'Keefe, caught, dropped it, play on. Albert Proud caught, dropped it, play on. O'Keefe. Bird left it behind. Travis Johnston. No one to kick to and knows it. Jonathan Brown leads up for him. It's in front. Brown can't get it. Just bumped at the right moment by Craig Bolton. Ablett. Jude Bolton at the stop. Ted Richards. Bad tackle by Hooper. They didn't get the handball away. Jolly. Ablett. Richards again. Long bomb. Barry Hall. Merritt's with him. Slapped an arm. O'Loughlin can't get a kick away. Bumped off it. Merritt dives back in. Magnificent game to watch at the moment. High pressure. High stakes. And we'll get a ball up. Everyone can take a breath.
Good pressure there. Even Daniel Merritt in the air. Just enough body to put Barry Hall under the ball so he couldn't take possession. Good work from the big, strong fella. He went into this game pretty nervous. He knows that Hall's got him a few times, so it's a good start.
And the ball up. Look around the body. He's a little wide. No free kick to Ablett. We'll get a ball in.
Jed, you play the footy.
Jed Adcock being told.
few instructions from the umpire there.
It looks like he's got the job now on Jared McVeigh. Uncontested marks, 20 to Sydney, 4 to Brisbane. So chipping it around, Sydney.
Adam Goods will try and snap this one. Trying to be third man up. Charman to Lappin. Through traffic beautifully. Wide kick. Copeland edged under the ball. O'Keefe sent it back inside Sydney's half. Goes inside to Craig Bird.
Stay there, Trav. Thank you. Stay there, player.
Lead comes from Barry Hall. He's ignored it.
Oof, gutsy.
It's wide to Ted Richards.
Stay wide of him at training Monday night, I'd suggest.
Stay there, mate. Stay there.
Brisbane Lions getting numbers back. Tough one. Jude Bolton just the required 15.
Now. Thank you. Play on.
And Bolton has to go back as well.
Every player on the ground in the Swans half.
To Craig Bolton to Barry Hall. Hands the back. He did not mark it.
Oh, Daniel Merritt agrees with you there, Dwayne Oak.
He went off with the whistle early.
He jumped the gun.
I think in recent weeks, if you back chat also, it might be a 50-metre penalty, but the umpire knows he was probably a little bit quick on the whistle as you look at Big Barry jump for the ball. A lot of body pressure.
He said that's a controlled mark, and that is not a controlled mark.
Oh, the faithful are starting to blur up now.
I'll bring that one out at umpire training this week. Barry Hall, long, and it's offline. The footy gods are here. They know that that was not worthy.
Back and meet him.
Short kick in, Albert Proud. And now Riscatelli.
That's the kick that doesn't help Brisbane. Going backwards in your defensive 50 just allows Sydney to get all the numbers behind the ball.
And you got no options then.
Yep.
50 metres. Something off the ball there.
Block off the ball. Back here.
A block off the ball.
Yeah.
There's the evener upper.
Jack, you ran into him. You blocked him. Jack, takes him. You go that way.
Barry Hall very disappointed.
Well, you
He was
get,
happy
you
he got
get
his-
one, you give one.
He got his first free kick for the year.
Tough one for Brennan. He protected the ball well then and takes off. Thumps it long, goal square. Bradshaw's down there again. Leo Barry, Bradshaw had it but lost it. Held it as long as Barry Hall did. Lewis Roberts Thompson to Bevan.
Good
Caught. Ted Richards caught. Kennelly not caught. Gets away with a kick towards the wing. Tough bouncing ball for Moore. The cannonball, thumps it on. Bird, the 1-2. He can go all the way here. Kicked a brilliant goal in the second term. That's just as good.
Well, that was good work for the Sydney Swans, but Daniel Bradshaw, he'd done all the hard work, got rid of Leo Barry and just spilt the mark. Enough pressure from Leo Barry, but Ty Kennelly running out of defence set up Moore to kick this very good goal, and at pace to break the 50 and still have the composure to kick the ball straight and long is a great finish from a very talented young player.
Second goal for Jared Moore. Riscatelli, the man with the responsibility. 59 to 36. The ball up.
Well, they've got to kick the next one, Brisbane. It's a real danger time now.
Leuenberger to Lappin. Nicely through traffic. Toe poke forward by Adcock. Played for the free, didn't get it. Neither did Corey. Hooper dives in, thumps it out. O'Keefe. Tap on Matner and by Jude Bolton will get a ball in. Rowan Smith.
Just on Brisbane, I think they've just missed Josh Drummond. He's an influential player for them that gives them a lot of run from defence. They've put Jed Adcock down in defence just to give it a little bit of run, but that's where they're just blocking down tonight.
Drummond, actually, I think when he did his quad last week, kicked a goal from about 55. That's what they're screaming out for at the moment. The likes of maybe a Notting or a Lappin to run through the centre and break that 50, be able to kick goals. They need some intensity from the midfield and put some scoreboard pressure on the opposition.
Umpires having plenty to say. There's Paul Roos coaching from the bench with Andrew Ireland, as you saw. The man who's been involved heavily with both these clubs. Sherman. Caught. Ray Chamberlain will pull it up again. Just the 14 games last year, Justin Sherman, and dropped 3 times last year.
What happened there?
Leuenberger, a little tickle.
Yeah, just a little right to the stomach of Lewis Roberts-Thompson. Nothing in it, but enough to, when you're in front of the umpire, to give away a free kick.
They can't afford to give up possession at the moment.
Matner. Now Eamon Buchanan. He's got Ted Richards wide. Ignored him, goes all the way to Barlow. Good thump by Patfull, knocked it down, but to O'Keefe. Slips it to the pocket, Barry Hall. Tough kick.
Fancies his chances, just telling everyone to settle down. He'll go back and try and slot this through from a tight angle. He gets a good lead from Goods, ignores it.
Natives getting restless here. Starts it right. It's going to be across the face. Stays in play. McDonald, Riscatelli. Needs to find a target, not a lot to go to. Corrie's got 3 to beat. Does well. Takes on Bevan. Takes on Richards. Gets the kick away in time. Open forward line. Bradshaw. What about that? Movement from defence. And Bradshaw can finish it off.
Well, Lynchy, it wasn't a great kick off the boot from Corrie, but what he did do was take the bit between the teeth and he tried to do something. He took a risk. He took them on. He tried to get past a couple of players and get the ball moving quickly.
Rowan Smith.
Ty Canelli's just come to the bench complaining about a left hamstring soreness. They're working on his buttock at the moment, so hopefully that's maybe a little bit referring, but hopefully he'll be back on the ground.
Bradshaw for his 4th to keep the Lions in it. They won't go away.
He's looked very dangerous, but as you said, Jace, this is the most encouraging thing we've seen from the Lions outside the tackling pressure. Anthony Corrie took on the tackler, ran his extra yards and got the ball in long and quick to give his forward a one-on-one contest, and Bradshaw's been very, very effective in this game so far. 4 goals, looks very dangerous.
Stay back on the line too.
Goal set up by Anthony Corrie, another boy from the Territory. No doubt Mum Myrtle up in the Territory watching tonight. The boy's going well. From the ball up, Hooper. Riscatelli. Power. All the way back to half-back. Black. Not far from time on in this 3rd term.
As soon as Luke Power got that and doubled around, Simon Black knew where he'd go. I think that's the left footer's brotherhood, just knowing exactly which way they'd swing and where they'd kick it.
Henderson.
Teddy right there.
Lockie Henderson held up.
Play on.
Gets the call and thumps it. Inside 50. Brown was held.
Oh, boy.
Jonathan Brown free.
You're joking, says Graham Bolt.
But once again, from a forward's point of view, you try to engage the contact. You initiate contact here, as Jonathan Brown has done, and he's tried to push.
He's locked one arm. He's locked one arm with both of his arms. That's a fair decision.
Yeah.
There's your explanation.
Absolutely.
He has. He had both arms wrapped around him. Jonathan Brown initiated the contact, but put Bolton off balance and drew the free kick.
Only got 1 so far tonight, and that's across the face, and lucky if it scores. Now behind. Still yet to kick a bag against Sydney in his career, Jonathan Brown.
Those 2 players have great matchups. Every time they play, it's a good contest.
Matner.
They went man on man at that kick out, Brisbane.
Corrie flies, got a hand on it. That was enough. About to pounce again, got a little nudge. Play on to Leuenberger. Hands off to Hooper. In trouble, out of trouble. Got the handball away just in time to Begley. Notting. Tries to get through Jack. Handball out, but it's in the Ablett and Begley direction. Both went to ground. Slapped out to Hooper. Short to Notting. Told to play on from the pocket. Kickable from there. He's got it!
Exactly what Lou Matthews would have been asking. Midfielders kicking goals, getting in the forward half of the ground and having shots on goal. There's a lot of pressure. Begley did well.
Good use of the body, wasn't it?
To hold his feet, basically, and have composure over the ball. Just was able to knock Ablett off his feet, and that's a good shot on goal from Tim Notting on his non-preferred left foot from 40 metres. Very handy, and it's a close game. 10 points to the Sydney Swans.
Tim Notting, that one sticky out ear on his left that helps him ride that home. He likes the photographs taken from one particular side. You won't appreciate me mentioning it. From the ball up. Perfect tap according to the umpire. Goods is waiting under it. Grundy.
Dropped it.
Holding the ball. Yep. They've got a spark. Travis Johnston takes them on. Proud. Hands on it. Couldn't get the second grab. Jonathan Brown was there. Notting again. Kicks toward Bradshaw territory. Off hands. Henderson couldn't trap it.
Oh.
Richards
Pressure
to
here.
Bevan and also Craig Bolton. Well played by Proud. Dives in. Keeps it alive. Jonathan Brown left it behind. Proud with another tackle. Hooper. 3 touches in that movement from Albert Proud. And he did Chris Johnson proud in that number 2. Paul Roos still coaching from the boundary. It's game on now. Proud again with the tackle on Buchanan. Jolly got a kick away. Sherman shoots it out to McDonald, but he missed him with a handball. O'Loughlin. Umpire enjoyed the kick to Barry Hall. Dragged down by Merritt. And now an open forward line here for Grundy. Adcock, Grundy falls. Adcock keeps his feet. He's got power one side. Doesn't want him. High kick. Just the required 15. Free kick to Merritt. No.
Free kick to Barry Hall for a Shepherd. The umpire was called.
Well, Merritt appeared to protect his ground. Travis Johnston thumps it down. The turnover.
Swans player down.
Sherman to Power. Handball smothered. McVeigh. Turnover again. O'Keefe sends it long inside 50. Almost but not quite. Jude Bolton first to recover. Left foot kick. It's a gem, but it's across the face.
I'll tell you what, one player that's struggling to have any sort of impact tonight is Luke Power. Just the 8 possessions. Brett Kirk's on him at the moment, and he's giving a few to Brett Kirk. He's not liking the close attention.
Black played 23 minutes. Third term, 2 minutes and 35 to go. Black takes them on. Slides it towards Bradshaw, can't mark. Off hands, Kennelly thought he had it but lost it. Bradshaw ducks out of trouble, saw the goals and got done. Barlow caught him, Barry the crumb, play on advantage. Jude Bolton took the mark, took a couple of steps.
Got a player free, just
lead from Barry Hall.
Still a Swans player deep free if Barry Hall sees him. He's turned his back, and Swans player in the background is filthy, but Barry Hall, his goal kicker.
Sydney led by 13 points at quarter time, by 12 points at half time. They lead by 10 with 3/4 time approaching, and this kick to come from Barry Hall. You can hear the boos. He's got one. It's offline. And Barry a little distressed by it. Here's Eamon Buchanan. Travis Johnston.
Took spoil. He had his eyes on the footy, Johnson, but then landed on the face of Eamon Buchanan. That wouldn't have tickled.
Play on, play on.
Merritt called to play on.
Yours.
Sends it wide. Almost but not quite Henderson. And taken out of play deliberately by Richards.
There's no doubt it was deliberate, but it'll be a bit stiff to be pulled up on that one.
Look, Kieran, watch the footy, go the footy.
Kieran Jack being told to go at the footy. Leuenberger with the palm down. Kirk and Power, that's been a good battle. Kirk takes it out.
Has been a good battle. Kirk, 20 possessions now.
And mind you, he started on Black, Kirk, but he does a great job on whoever he plays on at the time.
Leuenberger edged under it by Jolly, who pushed him under the ball. There's no hands on the back rule in ruck contests. So you're allowed to hold your ground with a hand in your opponent's back for ruck contests. as opposed to marking contests.
These situations, you get someone like Goods or Ablett to go third up. Brennan this time.
Thumped it down to Riscatelli. One last chance here for the Lions. Riscatelli wobbles it in the Bradshaw direction. O'Keefe read the bounce. Goods. It's got O'Loughlin. If he can hit him, does. Open forward line. Barry Hall calls for it in the pocket. Merritt's coming with him. Barry Hall takes off. Tough kick. Shoots the handball inboard to Buchanan. They set that up magnificently. They lead by 17.
Well, you don't like to apportion blame in this game, but the kick from Michael Riscatelli, he's kicking it from forward of the wing to the leading Daniel Bradshaw. It was such a poor kick, it didn't get anywhere near him. It bounced once, was intercepted by Ryan O'Keefe, and all of a sudden the Swans go bang, bang, bang. 3 kicks hit targets, a hand pass from Barry Hall to Eamon Buchanan, and instead of lining up for a late goal in the last minute of the third quarter, you concede one.
Been a solid contributor for the Sydney Swans, Eamon Buchanan. Unlucky not to be a Norm Smith medalist in that grand final win.
It's the ball. It's the ball.
And a classic goal in the shadows of three-quarter time. And the ball up. Leuenberger fighting hard, but again they're all the way back to half-back for the clearance. Power to Copeland. Bouncing ball, McDonald. Needs a mark close to 50. Midfield, Hooper, time ticking away for him. Well played by Bird. Jude Bolton, caught, dumped. Three-quarter time. And the Sydney Swans are on target to continue this extremely good record against the Brisbane Lions in recent seasons. Brisbane has not beaten Sydney since round 1, 2004. And the Swans lead at three-quarter time, 10-6, 66. Big games from Lappin and Black in this final term. If they're to snatch the victory. Simon Black turned 29 years of age this week, still one of the guns of the competition, and Nigel Lappin on track for his 300th game this year if the Lions make the finals. They've got the quality in the middle. From the ball up to start this final term, McVeigh had a splendid evening. Kicks though towards Notting. McDonald tries to don't argue, not going anywhere. Corrie, with him is Moore. Played for the free, didn't get it. Moore over it now, holds it in, and surely gone.
Strike there.
Good lucky there, Brisbane. Anthony Corrie went to ground too easily. He needed to keep his feet. Got rescued, got out of jail thanks to a great Jed Adcock tackle.
Speaking of midfield guns that can get them back into it, Jed Adcock every game last year and second in their best and fairest. And Jonathan Brown needs to fire as well. Needs to hold a few of those. Only the one goal so far tonight for Jay Brown.
That's when he's caught under the ball. Jonathan Brown's very good in the one-on-one contest with Craig Bolton. But that one, Bolton had a run at the ball. He's such a good athlete. Always going to be a chance to get the fist in. Free kick against Jolly. He's had a few of those tonight.
He's been doing it all night and no free kicks. He does it here and gets the free.
Positions himself very well, Leuenberger. You can just see that he's a rising star of the future.
Well, he's still eligible for the NAB Rising Star this year, Matthew Leuenberger, of course, because only played the 9 games last year.
At least it was long.
Merritt.
Well, there's to a 50-50.
Patfull and Moore. Patfull to his own advantage, half grabbed. Toe pokes. Rolls it towards the line and stalemate. Joel Patfull, he admitted in one player profile that his toughest opponent ever was Adam Goods. So players often don't admit to a current player being their toughest opponent. And maybe his coach read that and didn't give him Adam Goods tonight. Rowan Smith with a touch.
Oh, I got to love the footy.
You still got it, Rowan.
Lost nothing.
And the ball in. Slap down towards Notting. He takes it out.
Gone to their 3 big forwards, Charman, Brown and Bradshaw, all in the forward 50.
Richards not necessarily watching the footy there. And the ball in. Adcock does well to Lappin. Can he find a target inside 50? He can't. Lewis Roberts-Thompson takes the diving mark and 50.
He thought the ball bounced before the mark, and he got away with that one, Jonathan Brown. But the reason Lappin couldn't hit a target is the pressure was too intense from Sydney. Terrific chasing.
LRT finds Herman Buchanan. Good to see Lewis Roberts-Thompson back in action. Just 2 games from him last year with injury. Hooper to Black to Charman. Good hands.
Now that's a clever kick from Simon Black. There wasn't a clear target in space, but he recognised the fact that Charman pushed forward, so any ball chipped high in front of him, if he has a run and jump, no one's going to spoil it. Even though Lewis Roberts-Thompson's a tall defender, look at the height that Charman takes the ball at. He can't get anywhere near it.
He's been an effective forward when he's pushed forward this season.
What's his kicking like, Lynchy?
Solid, actually, for a big fella. He won't pass it short. Oh, I wouldn't make it ink. I mean, as long as there's a bit of lead involved, you'd pencil it in.
He's kicked 3 goals, 1 this year, and that won't score, and there's no one back for the Lions.
That's poor. Someone has to go down and stand on the goal line, because you never know when you'll kick a floater, and you might be able to shepherd one through, but to have no one down there is criminal.
Well, you're not suggesting the ruckman should have kicked short then, are you, Jason?
No.
Oh, he did.
I'd like him to have got a little bit closer to goal, but I think it's criminal not to have a forward or a tall down on the goal line.
Adam Goods, okay to play this week, despite being reported for the hit on Matt Thomas from Port Adelaide last week. Challenged it and won. Finds Ty Kennelly. Tig held up.
Just taking the tempo back in the early few minutes of this last quarter, the Sydney Swans just slowed it down, not desperately running.
Notting could have stopped, runs on, low trajectory, hits the post.
Well, they've had 2 misses in a minute, and you would think that if they're going to get back into this game, they've got to make the most of the opportunities, and it's unfortunate. Terrific anticipation from Tim Notting, but he couldn't finish.
Kennelly wide. It's only 16 points, though. Kirk. Long ball to Barry Hall.
This would hurt.
Fantastic use of the body. It would hurt. From outside 50. And it's out of play on the full.
This will hurt the Swans if he kicks it out the full. But the encouraging thing there,
is there a hand in the back?
Barry Hall there. Just
there's a left hand in the back, but they've softened on it, the umpires. They've softened.
Depends on what day, which umpires, what the weather's like.
Just no movement coming.
So Adcock forced to bang it. About 40 metres in the Brown direction. And this time he holds one.
Did he hold it long enough?
I think he had a reasonable control of that one. But now the option's very stagnant forward. Charman's the only one with any real movement at the moment. Bradshaw goes late.
Bradshaw moving, but gee, that's almost out of play deliberate. You never see spoils paid deliberate out of bounds.
No, but if a player gets there in time to two-handed out of bounds, why not take the mark?
That's right.
Well, should it be paid deliberate when he does that?
Don't hold, don't block.
Gee, they've given a lot of advice out tonight, the umpire.
Don't they ever? From the ball up.
Continuous commentary, you're putting you out of a job, Dwayne.
Tell you what, they'll get some back shortly. Barlow. Player's not allowed to give it back. That's the hard part. Barlow to Richards. Tough one. Made it look okay. Still only 16 points to margin. Lewis Roberts-Thompson. And now Adam Goods.
Great run. Jared Brennan's his opponent and stuck with him the whole way, but the pass was fantastic from Lewis Roberts-Thompson.
To O'Loughlin.
Not a bad pass either, although it puts O'Loughlin in a very difficult pocket. Incredible angle.
You'd think he wouldn't have a shot from here. He'd be looking the dish off just to 35, 40 metres out.
Barry Hall. Still a tough kick.
Well, Daniel Merritt looks around and probably has every right to. There's only one avenue that Barry Hall can lead towards the player with the ball outside the boundary, Michael O'Loughlin, and no one went and stood in the hole to give him a chop out.
And probably with experience, the tactic of standing 5 metres in front of the forward was probably the go to discourage the lead.
Stick 1 goal 2 tonight. Stick 1 goal 3. And the Lions stay alive. 3 goals unanswered, they're in front. Travis Johnston.
Well, you're right, Dwayne. 3 goals isn't that much. Brisbane can get back into it, but you just get the feeling that if the Swans kick the next one, it'll be too much for then Brisbane to come back.
Long towards Power, who's got a couple to beat. Gee, Jolly didn't appear to go for the ball then. They might come up with it regardless here, the Lions. Hooper.
Oh, well done.
Johnston. Leuenberger. Sold the dummy. Sends it inside 50 towards Bradshaw. Can't get there to attempt a mark. Keeps it inside the line.
Oh,
Sherman.
Good pass. Seemed to be a little bit of spring through the midfield. And like not he missed his shot on goal. Lappin had the ability to the opportunity to hit someone. Just see that contest there. Big man against Luke Power, but he bounced back up. But that is good composure to get it out the top of the goal square. Whether he saw Justin Sherman or not, it was a good pass. Dangerous spot.
To revive the Lions, maybe revive his own career.
Well, the encouraging signs are at least the Lions players are running. They haven't been able to hit targets on every occasion, but their ball carriers are starting to have a little bit of speed, a bit of spring in their step through the midfield. And on this occasion, they were able to scrap their way to a shot on goal from dead in front. Justin Sherman, very handy goal. His first for the year.
First goal of the year for Justin Sherman. Still some straight goal kicking in that old jumper of yours, Alistair. From the ball up. Of course, you presented it to him in his opening game. And he keeps the Lions in with a chance. Good tackle. Ball still in the middle. Slides out, but not decisively. High tackle. Free kick to Corrie.
Now they've got to go quickly. They've got to move it quickly. Get it going. A tough kick.
Albert Proud pushing the back, surely. No. O'Keefe to Bolton. Kennelly. Goods. Richards. Thought about Barlow. Inboard to O'Keefe. Still got Barlow. Ned Barlow can send it long to Michael O'Loughlin. Patful. O'Loughlin getting back. Almost McDonald. Caught too high. Dumped. And a rush behind. It was pile drive into the ground.
Best opportunity before Sydney Swans have got time to set up their zone here to get a quick clearance.
Johnston.
Play on. Yours now.
McDonald got it from Corrie, went to Hooper. Put him under immense pressure. Notting might make it okay. Can't pick it up. Begley does.
The positive there was he at least tried to play the ball on. The skill, there was a skill error, but I think the idea was right.
Well, they're trying to run it, but to handball to a 50-50 over the top makes life very tough for your teammates.
Charman down to Black.
Great hands.
Copeland. Well played by Jude Bolton, though. Stole it to Moore. Adam Goods. Little fumble. Over the top to Barlow. Brennan got him. Just in time, perhaps. No! That's a gem.
Well, there was some terrific work from Jude Bolton there, because the hand pass from Black was to the advantage of his teammate in Robert Copeland, but somehow Jude Bolton forced his body past Copeland, took him out of the contest and released the ball to his teammates, and that's a great kick under severe pressure from Ed Barlow.
Got the big guns in the midfield now. Goods, McVeigh, Kurt.
Ed Barlow a spill on the bench for his trouble. We've mentioned the draw here between these two teams last year in round 20 a couple of times. That was the game where Ed Barlow made his AFL debut. And the ball up. Lewis Roberts-Thompson against Charman. McVeigh slips the pass inside 50, hoping for a bounce to Barry Hall. Jude Bolton. Ablett. Kick and hope. O'Loughlin getting back Corrie. Thumped away from him. Hooper. Little fumble initially. Shoots it out to Lappin. He's caught. O'Keefe. Good hip and shoulder on Albert Proud. Somehow through traffic. Sends it wide in the Lewis Roberts-Thompson direction. Down there, Jonathan Brown. Thumped it on. Great tackle by Notting on Bird.
Notting's lifted his work rate. The tackling pressure, 13 possessions.
Open forward line.
Hooper can run in here if he wants to. On the left, it's a wobbler. Almost Leuenberger behind.
They've just lacked the ability to finish when they've needed it in the last quarter of the lines.
Just didn't have the confidence or the energy levels to run hard for that 5 metres, straighten up and have a shot from 30 metres instead of 45.
Again, man-to-man at the kick-out here, but no one's standing the mark, which allows Kennelly just to play on and run.
Just a lack of concentration there and communication.
Kicked it to himself like the old round Gaelic ball with ease. To Moore on the wing. Barry Hall's on the move. Merritt is with him. Hands again.
He's paid a free kick for too high. Surely you pay the mark. He's entitled to claim the contested mark.
That's just to get the numbers up. Say, Barry, we paid you a free kick there.
To Buchanan, who can't kick it long enough. So a centering kick to O'Keefe. Half volley, according to the umpire. Stolen by Kennelly, who started the whole movement. Behind. Inside 10 minutes to full time.
That was a strong mark, though. That's great hands.
Pay the mark, not the free kick. It's a better stat for the player that's got the footy. And he deserves it. He earns it. Got to go long.
Robert Copeland, entrusted with the kick in. Thumps it high. Roberts Thompson with the fist. Missed the ball. Kirk, the crumb. Shoots it to Moore. Couldn't collect it. Lappin does. Twists out of trouble to Corrie. Wobbler towards Jonathan Brown. High poke good from Travis Johnston. Sherman needs to shoot the handball back and does. Johnston keeps it alive. Leuenberger.
Good run. And I think he's about 6'9". The ability of this guy to cover the ground and take marks like that. He's certainly a star in the making.
Well, he is. They talk about him in the same vein as Dean Cox. They say he's the next Dean Cox. That is an enormous rap to put on a young bloke. But, gee, he looks good, doesn't he?
His second and third efforts is just so good as well for someone that size.
Coxie kick this.
That's who he modelled himself on. Is the West Australian Matthew Leuenberger.
Shouldn't be allowed to kick for goal, Rucker.
And Bradshaw somehow has extracted a mark.
No, he will kick this. No, he will kick this.
Around the corner?
Yeah. Absolutely. Now, what he actually needs is one of his teammates to come over and block Lewis Roberts-Thompson.
Oh, that's brilliant. It looked like he went through from this angle.
But there was no teammates there to support him and put the block on Roberts-Thompson to give Bradshaw that extra half a second to come out a little bit wider.
Listen to the umpires. Don't make me pay a free kick here. Just be quiet, and if the free kick's there, pay it.
Quick kick in to McVeigh.
It's always difficult to stop this first kick from the man-on-man situations.
Look at this.
That one is what's supposed to be stopped, though, from the one-on-one.
Bevan precise to Goods. Still game on, though. 75-58. Goods gets around Begley. Centering kick. Travis Johnston will have to get back and does. And they're away. Thought about a bounce. Has it. Slippery turf. Takes it O'Keefe. Wants to maintain possession. Doesn't want to turn it over. Well played. Charman. He bangs it along. Bradshaw's down there. Got a hand on it. Jonathan Brown. He lends a hand to Bradshaw. Sherman shrugs the tackle. Slides it towards Leuenberger. Oh, might go all the way! Touched on the line. Ted Richards.
Nearly a great goal from the boundary line.
Justin Sherman.
Just touched it with a few centimetres to go. But once again, no one on the mark. Plenty of space to play on.
It's lifted a gear.
Well, it means there's a loose player somewhere. Everyone else is manning up. Where's the loose player?
Richards to Grundy over the head of Barry Hall. Lappin and Kirk. Almost dragged out of it. Hall to Moore. Goal square. O'Loughlin's down there. Half manhandled O'Keefe. He's rolled it home. And the Swans are nearly there.
He's an amazing player, Ryan O'Keefe. He has the tank of a midfielder. He covers ground. He starts at half forward, but he plays wing. He plays half back. He goes down to the last line of defence. covers enormous ground, and sometimes you don't realise, but he creeps up on you. He's the main possession getter on the ground, the number one, with 26 touches plus 2 goals. Just an extraordinary work rate. Such an important player for the Sydney Swans, and he gets a well-deserved rest.
Paul Roos calm as always. 81 to 59. Leuenberger took a step. Well, Charman it is out of the circle. Free kick to the Swans. Hall bump Merritt out of it. O'Loughlin dives in. Patfull drags it through for a behind.
It's a bad mistake to just hand over possession out of the centre circle.
Joel Patfull.
Jack.
Long down the middle to the ruckman.
Charman. Good fist jolly. Brennan. Nice crumb.
It's been handy, Brennan, when he's been in the midfield.
Lappin. Now Bradshaw. Long way from home. Lead comes from full forward. It's Leuenberger. High kick. Getting back. Richards. It's been spectacular.
He has been very, very good.
And it was smart work from Grundy just to hold the body of Leuenberger out so Richards could come back and take what in effect was an uncontested mark in the end.
The time against the Lions now. Buchanan. He'll suck a few more seconds off the clock.
No, you wait. Move it on, play on.
19 minutes gone. Craig Bolton.
Just through absolute weight of numbers, the Lions have been run over here in the end.
But if you don't man Sydney up, they'll do this all day. They'll hit targets with their foot skills.
Goods to Barry Hall. Well played by Merritt, but the thump didn't go out of play.
Oh, Barry, you're in trouble.
Takes him on, though, and does well. Kirk. Lappin leaves Barry Hall. Copeland hunted him down. Gone!
He's one of the best tacklers at the Brisbane Lions, Robbie Copeland. He didn't take his eye off the body.
Gee, no 50. Was lucky there.
But possessions, 358 to 231. It's incredible the difference on disposals on the ground. The Lions, through their intensity after quarter time, have been able to find a way to stay in the game.
Scatelli to the midfield. Ty Kennelly got it from McVeigh. And he takes on Hooper with success. Ablett.
Barry Hall one-on-one, trying to get it deep.
Merritt turned around and Barry Hall kept his eye on the ball.
He wasn't looking. Daniel Merritt. He had no idea what was happening in the state of play, and Barry Hall just worked him over a little bit. You can see they're both gasping.
And I think that was the thing. He was worn out and was just looking for a bit of a rest, and felt that he was more than a kick away from the ball carrier, so he wouldn't be in the contest.
Chance for Barry to seal it.
20 gone.
To put a full stop on the Brisbane Lions' hopes. And the Brisbane Lions are not king of their jungle tonight. The Swans are home.
This has been a massive winning streak from the Sydney Swans. I mean, that we talked about earlier, the draw last year.
7 of the last 8 now and 1 draw.
Round 1, 2004, was the last victory that the Brisbane Lions had over this team.
And that now becomes a huge psychological hurdle for the Brisbane Lions every time they face Sydney now.
They have no problems coming to the Gabba and taking on the Brisbane Lions, no matter what form either team's in.
Stay inside, Matty.
Well, they haven't needed Barry Hall kicking a big number tonight. He has kicked 5 here on a couple of occasions, including the one where he kicked the winner here on the siren in round 3 back in 2005, which was a thriller. But they have the Lions measure.
He hasn't kicked a bag, Dwayne, but his numbers are very, very good, Barry Hall. He's had 23 possessions and 14 marks. That's exceptional.
Bradshaw might kick a bag. He's lining up for his 5th.
That was a good mark.
Unfortunately, he's been the sole hand up forward for the Brisbane Lions.
A little bit too predictable. Had to go to these players all day. Leuenberger has popped up and looked dangerous. Bradshaw has been the mainstay.
It's his 8th shot, Daniel Bradshaw. I think there's still a chance. He's kicked 5.
You keep talking, Lynchy, about the weight of possession that Sydney have had. They've had you know, an extra 130 or 140 possessions, but Brisbane are ahead in the inside 50s, which is extraordinary, 47 to 46.
It's quite incredible. The Sydney Swans certainly have over-possessed the ball. They've run in support in wave of numbers, used the ball short with hands and feet. But the Brisbane Lions managed to get enough turnovers to get the ball inside 50.
Not a lot of answers in there at the moment. 88 to 65. Bradshaw has 5. Leuenberger back in the ruck through the legs of Goods. Couldn't get a handball out. Arm held, so got a kick. Ablett. Caught by his opposite 20, Simon Black. Get a ball up. 3 minutes left on the clock. Jolly to Goods. Moore. Bangs it long in hope. Good fist by Rescatelli. Simon Black to pounce. Little ride in the back, gets the free.
Got him high initially. Get him up, please. Thanks, Paul. Play on. Fair bump.
Had to work for all his possessions tonight, Simon Black.
Jonathan Brown flies. Hasn't been his evening.
Play on.
Henderson. And now Brown to Bradshaw. It's been his night, but he can't mark this one. Bird caught, got his kick away just in time. Jolly.
He wants this to go over the line, really, and did it beautifully.
You can't do that.
That was a bit tough, actually.
That's umpire Ray Chamberlain at his best.
Oh, shocking kick.
Craig Bolton over the top of Jonathan Brown. Begley. Tries to keep it alive. Travis Johnston. I still believe at the moment the Lions. Lappin thumps it long. Bradshaw's down there. Goal square. Lockie Henderson.
It's a good grab for a
that. Chance to kick his second goal of his career. His second of the night.
Made it look easy in the end, Lynchy, the little one-hander.
Through the NAB Cup and the NAB Challenge, who's doing this in each game. The contested marks. He's a big kid at 6'5". Got some filling out to do, but that's a great talent to be able to have.
And the Lions' #1 pick over summer kicks his second. 1 minute 35 on the clock.
Big ass, 3 goals in a minute and a half. But they, at least to their credit, Brisbane, when they were beaten, they've continued to fight it right out. And we saw an article during the week where Jonathan Brown said that they're mature of bodies, they're ready to match it physically with Sydney. They haven't quite got there, but maybe they're getting a little bit closer.
Three goals in 90 seconds is the equation.
See the Sydney Swans here. They'll shut this right down if they can get a possession.
It's been done before, 3 goals in 90 seconds, but you doubt the Lions have it in them, although if they got the takeaway, they might have been a chance. But McVeigh kicks to Barry Hall. No free. Adcock. Henderson. It looks good. Lappin. Time ticks. Jonathan Brown, Bradshaw, big fists come. Handball by O'Keefe, dangerous. Kirk, Bevan. 60 seconds left. Over the head of Barry Hall. Merritt gets back. Good hands. Corrie. McDonald. To his own advantage, Barlow tracks him. Jared Brennan. Chip kick towards the wing. Ted Richards, who's been very, very good, wraps it up, holds it in, and gets the free for holding the ball.
Let him up. You just collapsed over it. Made no attempt to get it. Let him up, please. Let him up. Thank you.
And that's certainly a skill from opposition players to actually hold the ball under your opponent. And they so often get pinged for holding the ball these days.
Well, the backtrack to play on's the right move because the clock starts. Martin Matner joined the club over summer. Still had a year of his contract to run with the Adelaide Crows, but was dropped last year, and that was the final straw. Was asked by Paul Roos if he wanted to join them. And why wouldn't you want to join this professional finals-bound outfit perhaps again. They've got the quality. They've got a good recent history, and they are going to be mighty hard to beat again in 2008. Another win away from home for the Sydney Swans. 13-10-88 to Brisbane. 10-11-71.
Very interesting just watching the exchanges at both ends of the ground. Both Leo Barry and Daniel Bradshaw, they stopped, embraced, had a chat. But in particular, Barry Hall and Daniel Merritt, they had a long conversation. They embraced. Barry Hall got the better of it. He had a terrific game, but he recognised the fact that Merritt's a tough opponent. He stuck to his guns, and they had a real good chat and a real good feel-good say, look, thanks for the contest. It was